Everybody has, I say it this way, it's just the way we all have
Powered by Riverside
different
FM.
personalities and different looks and different handwriting. Our skill sets just as varied, and so is our approach to making flags, and so is our approach to business, and so is our approach to friends and our connections and our use of social media. So I think there's room for everybody. We're all just like completely on the same streets, on the same avenues, on the same wiring and everything, but there's room for everybody because we all do it slightly different.
Welcome back to Create and Connect. This is the podcast where I talk with makers, builders, and artists about their creations and how that connects them to people and to purpose. Today's guest is the cornerstone of the maker community. It amazes me how easily he connects with people and quickly raises their level through his kindness. My guest is Jimmy DiResta, the Godfather of making. Jimmy has this rare ability to make creativity feel accessible and treat you like an old friend upon first introduction. What really resonates with me is how Jimmy's philosophy of you learn by doing and don't wait until you're ready. You start, you make mistakes, you figure it out, and the process teaches you. He reminds us that when we work with our hands, we don't just build objects, we build skills, confidence, and community. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Jimmy, thanks for being here and welcome to Create and Connect.
Thank you. Thank you very much, brother. Thanks for having me. Thank you. That was very sweet of you to say all those things. Thank you.
Well, they're all true. I remember when we first met, I was fanboying down at
Maker Camp, right?
Workbench Con.
Oh, was it Workbench Con when we first met?
Yeah, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. I wanted to be there to learn about epoxy because I wanted.
Was it your first? Was it your first?
It was my first maker event ever.
Really?
Yeah, and I think it was in 21.
Okay.
And it was right after COVID. It was their 5th anniversary. And finally, I think the first day, everybody was in the big ballroom having breakfast. And I kind of just said to myself, I'm going over. Like, to me, it was like, going to ask the homecoming queen to prom. And I said, hey, guys, it was you. It was, I think, Derek, and it was definitely Pat Reynolds, because I said, gentlemen, do you mind if I sit for breakfast? And
yeah.
Pat said, sit down.
Well, I'm glad you did, because then we got to know each other. I remember meeting you for the first time in New York. So whenever I think of you in New York. But, it takes a few times for some people.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, we have a lot.
It's one big mushmash, all the people I've met over the years, and then many times I've met them, and then, like I said, it's not like you've said. It's a quick leap from hello to friends. There's usually no space. So,
and I was just speaking with Jamie Seal of Seal Made Leatherworks.
Oh yeah, she's great.
Yeah, and she was telling me her podcast is going to be on soon. She said she was really nervous. She wasn't sure. She was a participant at the Weaver Intensive.
Yep.
Didn't want to stay, but pushed herself. And she said she sat down at the barbecue dinner with you and Patrick.
Yep, and she was amazing.
And just made her feel included, made her feel part of. And she said that changed the trajectory of what she was doing and where she was at that time.
Really?
Yeah. So
wow.
I mean,
she was so chill and just cool. I mean, aside from the fact that she's like unbelievably talented, so she's got nothing to be shy about.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many talented people, and
yeah.
Papa Chad, he was on the podcast. He said, like, going to a maker event, especially Maker Camp, it's the only place where an introvert can act like an extrovert.
Yeah. It's true. It really is true.
But you and I have a lot in common. We're both from Long Island.
Yep.
We both have a brother, John.
Yep.
Not the same guy. Our dads were both firemen.
Yep.
And we both learned in our dad's shop.
Yep. My dad was a fireman, and his brother was a fireman, my Uncle Tony. And my mother's father was a New York City fireman. And my uncle, my mother's brother, was a Dade County fireman because they all moved down to Florida.
Oh, fun.
when my grandfather retired. He was at the is it 47 over there by the 100th precinct? Is that the 47 Battalion of Rockaway all the way down like near 100th Street or like 96th Street, I think?
I don't know anything other than the Bronx
Oh.
and Manhattan.
Oh, so. Right, that's right. You're a New York City guy.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, good for you. You're like one of the elite.
So I was in the West Village working, and you were in the East Village.
That's right.
Yeah. I was just binging a whole bunch of your different podcasts. You were just on with the guys from Brunt.
That was fun.
Talk.
Yeah, those guys are good.
And then, of course, I listened to Making It, and I was up at Making It 500, and that was fun to see all
Thank
those
you for
guys.
coming. Yeah, that was a great celebration. It was really, really touching weekend. It was amazing.
And so many of these events, some of them are free, and you just show up, and you're a part of it. And I like how you said, just be a cool hangout.
Hang. Well, Barry Katz is a Hollywood talent agent and talent manager, and he was my brother's talent agent, talent manager. By weird coincidence, he owned a club in the city, and years before I was ever on TV or ever going to be famous for any reason or another, and years before my brother was ever on TV, we used to go hang out at the Comedy Club on 3rd Street. Do you remember the Boston Comedy Club? It's right in your neighborhood, right there. Yeah. So Barry owned the Boston Comedy Club. So in the early 90s, me and my brother would always go there. My brother was doing stand-up, but my brother would occasionally say, hey, go over to the Boston Comedy Club. So-and-so's going to be there tonight, or this one's going to be there. And I would always wander over by myself. And one of my brother's like, hey, I'm not going to be around. He had to work. He's like, tonight's Barry Katz's 40th birthday party. You should go over there. It's going to be fun. So I went and I hung out there. And everybody was there, from Bill Burr to like all these guys. This was in, Barry's got to be 60-something by now. So this was at least 25 years ago. And maybe even further than that. I can't even remember. But look up how old Barry is. Imagine how old he was, how long ago 40 years he was 40. But it was such a star-studded night. And I just one of the, being in the city, you're like so in touch with, like, you're like literally steps away from so many cool, amazing events. So Barry is the guy who later in life ended up getting me on my first TV show. And he says, just be a good hang. And that's how you make it in show business and be undeniable. That's another thing he always said. They're two very, very simple philosophies. It's just don't be annoying and make cool shit. People say to me, how do you get views? I said, just try to make cool shit. I mean, that's what I'm always attempting. It's not always a hit. You don't always get viral videos. Things change.
Well, yeah, I was watching the evolution of what you have on the website on iMake.com, and spray painting your name on everything like a graffiti artist, and people just got, and you actually achieved what you were looking to do. You were looking to like have people buy your stuff because it has your name on it.
Kinda, yeah. I wish they do it more. Kinda, yeah. I don't mean, I'm not hot on, like, I should be. I'm not like, I'm wearing Colin Firth's hoodie, which cost me like $60-70 in England. I was happy to spend it because I know Colin provides,
you're supporting a friend.
He's amazing. I mean, he's incredible. I mean, I wouldn't be here if he didn't start. And, so I'm happy to help. I just need to be more aggressive with the T-shirts and the sweatshirts. We sell ice picks and pencils and hats, and, that's great. There you go. You got the ice pick.
Yeah. I actually just, because you did the holiday push, I got this for myself for Christmas.
Oh, right on. Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Next time you're around, I'll give you a couple. You can beat them up.
Well, I'm really amazed, and this is, a lot of where Create and Connect the podcast was born out of, because I'm watching you do it in real time, and you did it with me, where you just brought me in and like, oh yeah, I know you. You're that fireman guy. You're the Phoenix, and people started calling me Phoenix up at Maker Camp this year, and I thought they were calling me Felix.
You forgot that was your name.
I forgot. Yeah, I didn't realize people are calling each other by their tag names, and I completely stole the logo. I mean, this is my firehouse logo, and the only thing I did was I threw a saw blade into the middle of the fire.
Yeah. Phoenix comes, correct me if I'm wrong, the Phoenix comes from 9/11. Is that?
They had a couple of other tragedies at that firehouse, but
they lost 10 guys, right, in one particular event? 11, yeah.
Yeah.
That was about 25 years ago?
Yeah, 9/11, 25 years ago.
No, but not, well, I mean, did you guys lose somebody? Did you guys have another incident?
Yeah.
That was like a warehouse factory, right?
It was on Watt Street, and we lost guys there. That was 3 people, Captain Drennan,
Okay, I thought
Seidenberg,
that-
and Young.
I was
And then
thinking
we
it was...
had 2 guys that we lost during Deutsche Bank, which was after 9/11. Bobby Benina.
Oh,
and
that
Joey
was the
Graff.
explosion on the floor.
It was
The fire on the abandoned building, the empty building.
yeah.
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 Yep. Wow.
So to honor what I've done and also take on the Phoenix, where you rise and transform.
Yeah.
And that's what I felt like I was doing. I was transforming out of the fire department into woodworking, and
Right.
then I started Workbench Con and Maker Camp and the intensives. I wanted to get to the Weaver intensive, the one that Jamie went as a participant.
Yeah.
I was going to ride my motorcycle out there. I just couldn't pull it off. How do you, as being referred to as the Godfather of making, like, what's your reaction to that?
It's obviously a little embarrassing. I did not come up with that myself. I don't even know who for the first time came up with that. I can't remember. It's been so long. I don't know. It's a little embarrassing because it makes me think like I'm old, but it's obviously an honor when people say it. It really is an honor, and I'm proud to be called. It's better than being called the asshole. So I'm happy. I'm happy about it. But I did not come up with that myself. For the few people that hated on me, I did not think of that myself. It wasn't. I would never call myself a nickname like that. So
Well, I did a little research and I watched a little bit of Hammer. I looked at your promo pitch for Trash.
Oh, Trash to Cash, yeah.
Yeah.
That was what became the Dirty Money show that we did on the West Side. We did that with Discovery. It was called Dirty Money. The original pitch is an early video on my channel, and it's called Trash to Lord of the Fleas.
Yes, Lord of the
I'm
Fleas.
I'm forgetting. Yeah. That was a funny pitch, by the way. I'll explain the story behind that, but ask me another question.
No, I was going to say, I actually, when I was watching Hammered, you guys, it was the episode where you guys made the table in a day for the Knights of Columbus.
Oh, yeah. Out in somewhere, it was Queens, I think we did that for.
Flatbush.
Oh, it was in Brooklyn? It was in
Yeah.
Brooklyn? I just remember, I remember driving out of that town. We were I forget what, we were in Fort Greene when we shot that show.
Okay.
And then, I remember we all hopped in a van and drove for like a half hour somewhere.
I just thought it was funny because they said, you be the guy who makes things and your brother will be the comic relief. I actually thought you were funnier than he was.
Thank you.
Because you had the brother dynamic and, growing up in a fire department family, you got to be fast and zen.
Everybody's a wise ass. Everybody.
And I even met your sister Kat up at Maker Camp this year, and she was a doll, and it was funny because she was asking me fire department questions and everything, and she's like, my dad was on the fire department, and just, so happy to be a part of that community and that family. It was great.
Yeah. Thank you. She's amazing. Yeah. What was I going to say? That silly show that we did, which was really funny. I mean, it's really kind of like one of the shows me and John I know are most proud of. Lord of the Fleas. We had a pitch. We were flying. John was in New York. John lives in L.A. at this time. He was living in L.A., but he happened to be in New York for stand-up. So he was in town doing stand-up somewhere, maybe Caroline's Comedy Club or something. And we had to fly back together to do a pitch with Barry Katz and his assistant. We were going to do a pitch to Comedy Central for something. I can't remember what it was, but it was not that show. And John and Barry said, if you got anything else, bring it with you. So on a Friday afternoon, my brother goes, if we go to LA Monday, Tuesday, he goes, let's try and come up with something else. He goes, what about this idea I've been kicking around, John's idea? Let's find garbage on the street, fix it up, and then sell it at the flea market. And then that flea market is gone now, but it was on 10th Street and Avenue A. It was there for years. Now it's a giant building. It was a big empty parking lot. Yeah. And that's where we knew we could get into that flea market. So we went buying garbage, literally finding garbage in the street, taking it back to my shop down on Houston Street. And we went on a Saturday to the flea market and we met up with the big, tall black guy that was in the end with us, all having the laughs with us. I can't remember his name. It's driving me crazy. It's in the clip. And we made friends with him. He knew us. He's like, "What are you guys doing here?" Because we had already done Trash to Cash, and he knew who we were. And so we said, "Can we come back and sell out of your spot on Sunday?" He's like, "Come back tomorrow." So we went back over there with all of the stuff and I had been shooting what we found and the jokes and everything, and we put that clip together on Sunday night after the flea market. We were dying laughing. We were having so much fun putting that clip together and just having fun shooting it. And we sent it to Barry, and Barry's like, "This is amazing." We came up with it John came up with it on a Friday. Together we shot it Saturday, Sunday, edited it Sunday night. Tuesday morning we were pitching it to Comedy Central, and they passed on it. And it sat around. We ended up showing it to Discovery Channel, Fox. Everybody saw it. And then years later, so I can't even remember what year that was. It was several years later that I ended up showing it through a production company. They showed it to Discovery. My buddy says to me, "You got anything I could pitch? I got a meeting with Discovery this week." I was like, "You know what? As a matter of fact," they go look at my YouTube. There's this clip on YouTube. And I wasn't doing anything on YouTube. I was just parking concepts there. I wasn't making anything. And this was in like 2000 well, I had just cut my finger because I remember I was in a cast. So it was 2010.
Wow.
Because I was up in his office and he's like, "Why do you have a cast on?" I said, "I cut my pinky off on the table saw." And anyway, so he said, "You got anything?" They were right near you, right? You know where SOBs is?
Yeah.
They were upstairs from SOBs on the 10th floor of that.
Varick.
Yeah, Varick and
Houston.
Houston. Yeah, so they were upstairs from there. You guys are on the next, like literally a block over. And so I was upstairs in the office of a production company called Vidiots, and he's like, "You got anything to pitch? I got a meeting." And so I said, "Look on my YouTube." So he whips up the YouTube and he looks me up. I had like 3 clips on YouTube, and one of them was that. And he said, "This is really funny." He goes, "How can I take this down so they don't know it was up on YouTube?" I was like, "I don't know. I got to go find my password." I didn't even know what my password was for my YouTube account. So I find it, and then he goes, "Look," he goes, "I really like this." He goes, "I moved my meeting a week." He goes, "Can you give me the original tapes that you shot?" So I gave Mike the original tapes, and he recut it together. He's much more talented editor than me. And Mike recut the whole concept, and we got a deal with Discovery Channel. And that was years after we shot the original clip. And that was... I'm trying to think. We ended up selling it in 2011 is when we made the episodes. And then after that show didn't get picked up for season 2, we shot 12 episodes. That's when I started my YouTube channel late in 2011 when we realized we weren't getting picked up. And that's when I concentrated on my YouTube channel. Like, fuck these guys. I'm going to show them what they missed, and I'm going to go to YouTube. And at the same around the same time, I started my Instagram channel because all the young kids on set were like, all the young production assistants like, "Oh, you got to get Instagram. You got to get Instagram." So I opened Instagram for the first time around 2011. I started my YouTube channel at the same time.
Well, I just watched, I think it was a clip that you did today, and you had it on Facebook. Maybe all of them's linked together. It was the Leatherman case for your belt.
Funny, so there's a company called Voov, V-O-O-V, Voov. So Voov is taking all my old content. They find it any way they can find it. They download it and then recut it, put it in a square for Facebook. So I don't know what's up. My brother John, he's still like not really with it when it comes to social media. He doesn't realize like these clips he's watching, like you could see I got gray hair now. So these clips, I got dark beard. John's like, "That clip's great. When did you make that?" I'm like 10 years younger in that clip. Can't you tell? He thinks it's like something I made like last week and put up on Facebook. He doesn't realize. So that whole Facebook channel, that whole Jimmy DiResta channel, there's a couple of them. But this newest one, this is the trials and tribulations of being a social media content creator. I had a Facebook page that was started by a company called Jelly Smack. And they did the same thing. They took all my old content. Jelly Smack went out of business and Voov took over from them. Mm-hmm. But right around the same time Voov took over and was using that same channel that has about 1 million followers, I started getting content flags for dangerous weapons. And so my channel like literally got stalled in the algorithm because of those few flags that were posted. And so Voov said, "Look, we're having trouble." I was making thousands of dollars a month. It just went down to zero. And they're like, "Yeah, they literally cut you out of the algorithm 100% because of these flags. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start another channel."
Wow.
So there's another Jimmy DiResta channel. So if you look up, there's several, and that's the one that's most active, the one that keeps coming up with new clips. And I think in in that Jimmy DiResta one, I think I have on a blue shirt, so that's like the newest one. So I could tell by the meme. These people pick the memes. So I have nothing to do with it except collecting the money at the end of the month.
That's good.
They PayPal me. They PayPal me whatever comes in, and they know they have free reign to just grab content from wherever. So sometimes I'll notice that a video that I made 10 years ago is right next to a video I made a week ago. So they just mixing it up. I hope the editors are having fun, because it certainly looks like they are.
Yeah. Well, no, it's still great stuff. I mean,
yeah.
Because I'm sure it was 10 years ago, but I saw it today, and it looked like it was today.
It was about 6 years ago that I made that Leatherman. It like goes on my belt sideways like a gun holster.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one I copied it off of a Glock holster, but it holds a Leatherman.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Thank you.
Has anybody ever said that, like you have the Oprah effect with people in making? It would actually be the DiResta effect?
Well, I a funny thing would happen to me in the beginning of my career on YouTube is people really loved my editing style. Now it's very ubiquitous, but my editing style in the beginning was just me, really. I was one of the only people doing fast forward, no motion, just sounds of tools, no canned sounds of, no canned music. No copyright free music, just sounds of tools and me not talking. If there's a radio's on, that's all in fast forward. I started that. I believe I was like the first person to really proliferate that. I'm not saying I'm the only one that ever thought of it, but what began to happen was I'd meet somebody at a show, or I'd meet somebody randomly, or I'd get an email and they'd say, "I love your style. I'm so attracted to your style. It's amazing. Thank you." A couple weeks later, I'd meet somebody, or they'd send me, or they said that same person would send me a message, "Hey, it's me again. I made my own first video for YouTube. It looks a lot like your style, so I'm going to call it Inspired by DiResta. Is that okay with you?" I was like, "Yeah, that's fine with me," because everyone's going to see your video and go, "Who the hell's DiResta?" and then go find me. And so what began to happen, and you could even search it now. A lot of the older videos that are up from other content creators are DiResta inspired, and it really, in the beginning, it seemed to be more DiResta inspired editing style, and now it's DiResta inspired everything. So a lot of people started titling their videos DiResta inspired, and when my name carried a little bit more weight in the algorithm, it doesn't as much anymore because everything's changing. But when my name carried more weight, a lot of people would accuse these people of using my name to get traction, and then some people would come to me, or people would ask me on podcasts, "What do you think about people using your name to get attraction?" I go, "It's fine with me," because everyone's going to see that and go, "Who the hell's DiResta?" And they're going to come find me. So it's free advertising. It's like anybody can use my name for whatever they want. So people can come find me and look me up and be like, "Who's DiResta?" That's how I found Derek, because Derek was first watching David Welder, who was my assistant for a long time. David was my student, then he started working for me after he graduated. And that was when I started YouTube. David worked on the TV show with us, and then we transitioned over to YouTube. And I still love David. He's a great kid. When he worked with me, he would do his own videos in my shop. And he never hid my name. My name was spray painted on tools and on the table. And he didn't care. He was like, it was his way of honoring me. And Derek found David's videos first. David made some he's a really beautiful filmmaker. And David's videos are very poetic. He's like, he would, like, for instance, one of my favorite videos that he made was he found an umbrella crushed up on the subway stairs. And in this video, he takes the umbrella home, brings it to my shop, and turns it into a kite. And then on a sunny day, he's flying. I mean, it was such a poetic idea. I thought it was really beautifully well done. So anyway, Derek found Dave's videos and kept saying, "Who is DiResta? Why is this name DiResta written on everything?" And that's how Derek found my channel, by Googling DiResta.
Well, I've been listening to a bunch of different podcasts. Your name always comes up. Your name always comes up as the person who is inspiring them, or you just did it, started doing it, and even if you didn't finish it, you started. So you have a goal to finish. And everybody keeps saying, because I've heard it in so many different podcasts, is all the boats rise with a high tide. So let's just raise the tide together. And you do that. And I know I watched Justin Maybe's, his montage of you. And at the end, how everybody kept saying thank you and thank you. And I'm sure that's got to be humbling for you to know that.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, the connection that these other people feel with you personally,
Yeah.
like myself, you offered to be on the podcast. Me, this was a concept that I came up with in, what are we in, 25? In 2023, I said on, it was a Storyteller Tavern podcast.
Oh yeah, those guys are great.
So Mush wasn't there. It was Leah and it was Lee. And they said, what are you going to do in the next 5 years? You know, that's a closing question.
Yeah.
And I said, I'd like to do this. I'd like to do a podcast. I can spiel with the best of them.
Yeah. You're a New Yorker, genuine, with a little Long Island sprinkled in there, so we could really
a little
bullshit.
too much.
We could really bullshit when we need to. There's nothing worse than a Long Islander that lives in Manhattan.
Oh, my God. It's terrible. Yeah, they know everything and they'll tell you everything.
Exactly.
It was great because you said, like, if you stamp your name on it in the maker community, all of a sudden it gets traction. Because I have one video on Instagram that has 7,000 views because you reposted it.
Oh, well, I'm happy.
So
to
thank
help.
you.
Yeah, I'm
I
happy to help.
grossed, $0.
Yeah,
But
I don't make any money on Instagram ever.
And I'm not making any money on the podcast. So it's just so many people are doing it because the love of doing it. And
That's why I say you got to do it because you love it. I mean, I didn't make any money on YouTube for years. I mean, it took me like 5 years to start making money on YouTube. But I was making money as a fabricator, so a lot of my videos are about the real jobs that I was getting. So I was getting paid thousands of dollars to build something I was making a video on. So if you look at a lot of my earlier videos, you could tell some of them are installs in people's houses. Then right next to that is a random star key next to a video where I make something for the Bullet Bourbon team. So it's a very mishmash mix-up of different things. I think it's the same.
I think it's wonderful that you include everybody, and I like how you're a jack of all trades. I think that my style is a little bit like your style, whereas I'll figure it out. I don't know how to do it. I know it can be done, and it can be done, especially in carpentry, with 1,000 different tools. Like you can cut a piece of wood with a router, with a bandsaw, with a coping saw, with a CNC. There's just not one way of doing it. But especially if you're trying to get some money to make the rent, we're going to make this work.
Yeah, no, I remember getting my first sponsorship that I got paid for was DeWalt. And then my next sponsorship that I got paid for was True Fuel. They wrote me an email. They said, hey, would you be interested in showing our product on your channel? I was like, I'm getting paid to make a video? Finally? I mean, I knew it was possible, but like when it finally happened, I was like, whoa, this is actually really works. This is crazy.
It is a lot of hard work, the content creating, because I know that there's plenty of people that have cameras set up in the shops and things like that. I know that you got a little GoPro, and by the time I'm finished the project, I realize, I should have hit record.
Well, it's every day I do something, I think to myself, should I record this? Nah, I've done this 15 times. I don't need to record this again. I'm working on this tow truck. That's what I said to you. Text me because I'll be under the tow truck. But I'm working on the tow truck. I'm filming bits and clips of it. And now I might turn it into Instagram Reels or I might turn it into one long video. I'm not sure. But I'm filming it just to have it as a record. At the very least, what I am doing is I'm putting clips and updates on Patreon about the tow truck. Nothing on Instagram. I'm just trying to give the patrons something exclusive.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so the car is something. Working on cars is like a little bit of a hobby pastime, and we joke it's a father-son project for me and Rob. Rob's not my son, but he's my assistant, so we joke it's a father-son project. Just to keep us.
But again, that's you including somebody else and having him learn, experience, and I think that's where the Godfather got dubbed, is because you have experience. And I thought it was pretty funny. I looked at your IMBD. You got to update your photo because
it's that skinny photo of me.
You look like a nerd from 1997 with the glasses, and you got like a 3/4 button on. It doesn't look like you now.
That was right when I lost. I was 160 pounds. I was jogging 10 miles a week. which for me is tremendous. And my knees started giving out, and that's when I stopped jogging. That's when I got up to like normal weight, but I was super skinny. And then we had just done Hammered. No, we had just done Hammered, yeah. And they thought we were going to do a third season, so they came and did a whole photo shoot with us, and that was when those photos were from. And never happened, but those are PR photos that HGTV took.
Wow. Now, what about this movie, Haley Kiyoko?
I don't know what that is.
It says Jimmy DiResta is the valet boss. One Bad Night. It's a music video.
I don't even know what the hell that is. It doesn't sound like. I think that might be a miscredit. That doesn't sound familiar to me at all. Although my buddy used to come over here from England. He would get big budgets to shoot music videos, and he would come here. And there was a bit of a blur during that time. Not because I was a drunker. I mean, I'm completely sober. But for some reason, like I think of the times when I hang out with my buddy John, he's always like, "Remember that time we did this?" And I'm like, I don't remember that. So, but I would always be John's video assistant. I'd be his New Yorker in the trenches. He'd be like, "Where can we get a good shot?" I'm like, "Oh, let's go to Coney Island. You know, we'll take the F train to the end. We'll end up in Coney Island. The ride will be cool. The boardwalk will be cool. The cyclone's there." So I was his New York liaison. He's from England, and he'd bring these groups over. So that might be something that I did with him, where he put me in something that I just don't remember. I'm gonna be 60 in a year, so
yeah,
my memory is out the window.
No, that's all right. I'm not that far behind you. And one more thing that we share. We share a birth date.
April 3rd?
Yeah, man.
No kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because everybody's texting you, "Happy birthday, Jimmy! Happy birthday, Jimmy!" And I'm like, "Yeah, me too. I got a slice of cake."
That's great. I'm gonna send you a message. April 3rd. April 3rd, 67. That's my year.
I'm 71.
Oh, you're my sister's age. You're exactly my sister's age.
Yeah.
She's April 14th.
Get out of here.
Yeah, her and I as kids, we always had our birthdays together in the spring.
Oh, wow. My wife is April 9th.
There you go.
My dad's April 4th. A lot of April babies.
And that's why me and Derek and Jocko always get along, because Derek's April 6th, Jocko's April 7th, I'm April 3rd. My other buddy I grew up with is April 9th. There's a lot of early April birthdays for some reason.
Yeah, Aries.
Yeah, Aries get along.
Yeah, strong will.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Funny.
I've been listening to a ton of your podcasts.
Well, thank you.
And it was pretty funny. I fanboyed some guy up at Maker Camp, and he hasn't been back since. I don't think one correlates with the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm being that guy that nobody wants around.
Who was it? Can you say?
Nah, I'd rather not say.
Okay, don't say. Text me later.
And so, like, I was trying to make a connection. I'm always trying to make a connection with somebody. Like, we work with somebody, or I my brother lives by you, or something.
Yeah.
And the guy just kind of swatting me away. So, I was talking with you and Scotty Rue, Uncle Mullet.
Yeah.
And he was funny as hell. And I was giving my story, and I noticed out of the corner of my eye you were recording. And I was like, I'm still working for the city.
Oh, and what did I tell you? Did you tell me to, like, clip it?
No, I just curbed everything. Because I know, like, your brother John, he can turn that cop business on real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to, leave on my own terms.
You've been retired now. You're retired.
I'm retired 2 years.
Yeah, you've been out for a while.
Yeah. So, but like, I love seeing Mike the fireman show up on your clips.
He's insane.
Because he and I have a mutual friend, and it's funny because I've had interactions with the other guy, and he doesn't know about, and he's had interactions with that guy that I don't know about. But he's a funny dude.
All New York City firemen all lead back to one another. Everybody's just one person away from knowing each other.
Right.
Every time Mike bumps into somebody and I'm there, and I grew up with that. Every time we go into Coney Island, or I remember going to Playland at Rockaway, Every time my dad would talk to the guy, show his badge, who do you know? How do you know? What do you know? Oh, this precinct, that precinct, I've sat in the background, or my dad held my hand while he said that conversation 100 times.
Was your dad PD first?
No, he was always a fireman. He was in the Navy, and then he got appointed, I think, in 63. I think that sounds
So your
familiar.
dad and my dad were on at the same time. My dad got on in 65 and he retired in 90.
My dad got on, I think, 63 or 62 and retired in 86.
Okay.
So I think he did like exactly, I think, 22 or 23 years, if the math is right.
Yeah.
Something like that. And it's crazy looking back. Like, it seems like a million years ago, but like when you think of that 20-something years, and then he decided to retire to just do woodwork or carpentry. And then he lived a whole nother life after retired.
What exactly did he do in retirement?
He just did side jobs. He just would just do carpentry work. He ended up, he was a carpenter for hire, basically. He never wanted to run a job. He never wanted to get insurance. He was just a carpenter, a day laborer. You'd hire him, and he'd show up on the job. He was always a senior guy with the most experience. He had a truck full of tools. He was always upgrading his truck and always upgrading his tool kit in the truck. So he'd be on a job, and all the other guys would show up with, tool belt and maybe a hammer. And my dad would be the guy who had 7 hammers in his truck and teaching everybody how to use a skill saw. He was on this, I told this story at his funeral. He was, and I even posted a picture when he passed. He was on a job site with a bunch of young kids, and my brother John was one of those young kids. And they would all come hungover. This was like in the 80s. And they would all come hungover, like I guess in the late 80s. And they would all come hungover from rock shows and being out all night. And my dad was a hard ass. My dad was always the first one there, last one to leave, and very militant. And, he was jovial, but you had to do things his way. And my dad was hard of hearing. As a kid, he lost his hearing from swimming, as he always had ear infections, and he was completely deaf in one ear. So you could always get away with talking behind his back while you're behind his back, but not always. And so all these guys would call my dad fuckhead, shithead, fuckface, asshole. And so my dad would hear that, because my dad was always picking on these guys, and they would say that behind his back. And so he started writing on all of his tools just to let them know. Pair of tin snips, fuckface. On the side of the hammer, he took a Sharpie and wrote all these nicknames, so they would all know those were his tools with all the curse words on them. And then when my dad passed away, just by sheer coincidence, a pair of tin snips popped up in my bevy of tools, and it was a pair of tin snips from that era that said fuckface emblazoned in the yellow handle from like a stain from the Sharpie. And it's so funny. Like, my dad was just such a wise ass. So anyway, yeah, that's the story.
I just I had lunch with my dad. He's 90 now.
Wow.
And April 4th he'll be 91.
Wow. His birthday's the same as yours.
Yeah.
Might as well give it to him. Yours is the same as his.
Yeah. And he had, I just got all of his tools because he downgraded from a house into an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And he worked on JFK when it went from Idlewild to JFK.
Yep. Yeah, a long time ago.
Long time ago. And he worked on that TWA building that's now a
hotel. Yeah.
He was a tin knocker.
Yeah.
Him and his brother, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I remember flying out of that TWA when it was TWA going to Florida as a little kid with my mom.
Oh, we would never fly. We'd be driving everywhere.
We drove to Florida a few times when we were kids. All crazy memories we have. But occasionally my mother's from Rockaway. But when she was about 15 years old, my grandfather, her father, retired from FDNY because he was having health problems. And he ended up, the doctor said, you need to get some clean, fresh, damp air, so you might consider moving to Florida. And that's why for my grandfather's health, they moved to Florida. And he ended up dying of lung cancer in his early 70s. But he went to Florida for that reason, and my mother was down there. So my mother's mother and her siblings were all down there. So when I was a little kid, we'd always fly to Florida. And me and my sister were younger, so the family would always break up in this way, that me and my sister would go to Florida with my mother, and my two older brothers would stay home with my dad. And that's how like the 70s would go. I was always traveling with my mother and my brother and my father. My brothers and my father would hang out together.
Yeah, it's crazy. Back in the day, we my
keep the
parents,
family organized, basically.
yeah, we were dropped off with all these different family members. There would be two of us went with my aunt who was off the boat, Ireland. Then two of us would be with my grandmother because we were the youngest, and she would take care of the baby. And then whoever was the oldest, you know, some aunt that was single or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good times.
It goes quick.
Yeah. So now your brother Joey, he's the oldest?
Joey's the oldest. He was born in 62. John was born in 64. I was born in 67. Kathleen was born in 71. And Joey and I were in the toy business together for a really long time. From when I graduated college in 90 till about 2006 or 7, we were in the toy business together, designing and developing toys. And then I started doing interior design in around 2007 and 8. And I kind of slowly squeezed out of doing toys just because it was always speculative. All the money was always like, hey, if this makes money, you'll make money.
Right.
And everything's months and years ahead of anything time it's going to hit the store. So doing interior design, it was, I'd say, this is 10,000. I get half that day, and the other half in a month when I finished the job. So that was much quicker, faster money. So I started doing that more often.
Yeah, because you got to pay rent. They're not gonna say, oh yeah, we'll wait 6 months.
Exactly.
Not down in the village.
And then I just became a little disillusioned with the toy business. It was really fun while it lasted, but we were always trying to go for the big grand slam, the big giant moneymaker. We got a couple of tastes, but you know, a lot of breadcrumbing that just didn't lead anywhere, and except for just, instead of giving me 3 points, how about you give me 1 point and you pay me an annuity to build it, or you pay me a fee to build it. So there was a lot of those negotiations going on. Then it got to the point where I was just like, just pay me to build it. I don't want any points. They're like, you don't want points? What if it's $1 million idea? I'm like, I've been through a million ideas that didn't turn into $1 million idea. So I was like, just pay me. I'll build your prototype. I'll do the best I possibly can. And I mean, one of those ideas turned into the Sky Dancer. I didn't have any points on the Sky Dancer, but that turned into a huge, huge product. But I got paid thousands and thousands of dollars to help, be involved in the designing of it, but I didn't get any of the royalties.
I got a slight connection to 6 degrees of toy making. My aunt's cousin, Kevin, he was on the team that created Trivial Pursuit, and he made a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, this is something that I never said publicly, and it's not because it's a secret. I never really thought to say it out loud. But so me and my brother Joseph were involved in designing and developing toys. We worked for a company called Abrams Gentili Entertainment, and they had the idea of the Sky Dancer. So I was on like a monthly draw with them, and they said, hey, could you work on this concept? We got this idea of this like Barbie doll will fly. We basically taking a boy's version of a toy and giving it a girl's theme. And we started playing around with how to make this like action figure with the wings would splay and float. And I made several versions, a spinny handset, converting it into like a thing. And fast forward now, it's several years after the initial concept, the toy's making a ton of money for them. They turn around and say, we have a lot of money now because of this and other successful ideas they had, but they're like, we want to invest it in the entertainment world. How can we invest this in the entertainment world? And I remember they were just spitballing it. And my brother Joey says, you guys have to come and see our brother John. He's a stand-up. He's doing really well. In fact, tonight he's at Caroline's Comedy Club, which was like 5 blocks away from where their office was. So that night, my brother and I dragged John and Anthony with their names down to Caroline's Comedy Club to see my brother John. They loved John. They thought he was hilarious. They had never seen him live, and that led to a relationship of John working with this entertainment company to develop a one-person show. And they paid to have John go to acting school and stuff. John put out his one-person show, a Subway Cops comedy. That led to my brother in the 90s getting a television show. And that led to my brother John moving to Hollywood. So in a really weird, convoluted, roundabout way, and I'm leaving out all the arguments and the fights and the contract disputes, but in a real convoluted, roundabout way, we worked on the Sky Dancer. The Sky Dancer financed my brother John's entertainment career into the professional entree into Hollywood. And then John got to Hollywood because of that. And then John pulled me into the TV shows, which pulled me into YouTube. So it's a real convoluted way, and I just drew a pretty straight line, but it was several years and a lot of different twists and turns and a lot of upsets and contracts that shouldn't have been signed as fast as they were signed, and arguments and people getting cut out of other future projects. But basically, that's the simplified version of that story.
I'm absolutely amazed that, when I saw you and your brother and your sister and how you guys interacted up at Maker Camp and on your property, you could tell that it was special, but you continually help one another along.
We do, yeah. We do the best we can, yeah.
And you don't just do it as, okay, we're the DiResta family, and you're like mafia family where you're keeping everybody out. You're open-armed where you bring everybody in and say, how do we all benefit from this? So I have, I think, 3 listeners. I have my wife, my brother, and I think maybe Dennis Forrester, 21 grams.
Of course.
And that's it. But, you actually have, I don't know, notoriety or celebrity status in the maker community that you're not willing to hold the golden goose hostage.
No, I'm always happy to share.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to you.
You're welcome.
Because if anything, your friendship means more than some views on Instagram. I mean, I actually did the reverse of your plan, which was that I'm going to go to art school, I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to get it done. I actually did your dad's plan of what he wanted for you.
He did. He said, when I was at art school, my brother John was in the police academy on the other side of the block, which no longer, I don't think it's on 19th Street anymore. I was in the building on 20th Street as an art student. John was a police cadet at the same time. And I'd eat lunch in all these cafes on 2nd and 3rd Avenue with my brother and all his cadet friends. And they'd be like, is this kid gay?
In the gray uniform?
Yeah. They all have their bag and with the stick on it and the hat. And, they'd all get demerits if they didn't have their hat on. And we'd sit in the diners in and around there. And I was just some long-haired hippie. Like I said, they wouldn't know if I was half gay. They'd be like, what's up with your brother? But we'd all be, I'd be the art student sitting with the cadets having lunch for that 6-month period. But that's what my dad would say. Why don't you take the police test just in case the art world doesn't work out? I was like, I'm set. I don't need to do that.
Well, that's what happened to me. Is I was told you're not going to be a cop, you're not going to be a fireman, you're going to go to college, you're going to make something of yourself, and to stay out of poverty, you need an education. So I went to Manhattan College for engineering.
Okay.
So I show up to engineering school. And I think I'm going to build things. I'm going to build cities. I didn't want to go to engineering school. I wanted to go to carpentry school.
Right.
If anything, I wanted to learn cabinet building. And my parents are like, no way. And I told my dad, I'm like, please, let me just go to the Union Hall. And he said, absolutely not. You and money are a bad mix. If you have too much money, you're just going to waste it. And he was right. So I went to Manhattan College, and there was a semester where they contacted my parents, and they said they didn't think I would be a good fit for school.
No kidding.
So, I had some extracurricular activities that were not benefiting anyone. And so my dad came up, and I was like, what are you doing here? He goes, oh, we're going to go visit the dean. And I was like, really? And so we went to go visit the dean, and the dean's like, yeah, I don't think this is working out for him. And my father said, he's graduating. And they had a conversation when I was out of the room, and then he said, you're changing dorm rooms, you're going to pick a new major, and you're going to graduate on time. So I ended up graduating with English literature. Now, I can barely read, and I got an English literature degree.
Me too.
So fast forward, I did 100 jobs between graduating and the fire department. So now I'm working on Wall Street, I'm newly married, and I'm miserable. And my wife is like, what's going on? And I said, I got to talk to you. And she's like, okay. I said, I'm not happy. I want to take the fire department exam. I already took the police exam with you because she wanted to be an FBI agent, so she took the PD exam.
Wow.
And then I also took sanitation. So like a good Irish Catholic from Long Island, PD, FD, and sanitation.
Yep.
So sanitation called first in 99, and we had a discussion at home, and my wife said, no, thank you. And then I said, you know what? FD is going to call. They're going to call very soon. This is my number on the list.
Yeah.
And it was 1999. And I said, I'm going to ask your uncle to get me to the Carpenters Union. I had a discussion with her uncle, and he said, do you know one end of a hammer from another? I said, I do. He said, okay. He said, you're taking the city job when the city calls. And I said, yes. He goes, you can stay with your carpenter's book as long as you take that city job. You don't take the city job, I'm ripping the book up. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Then the world changed on September 11th. Everything sped up. I got on the fire department.
Were you? Oh, you got on after 9/11.
I was supposed to be May of 2002. I got on January of 2002.
Wow.
So,
4 months later, 3 months later.
So I got called November. You're going into the next class. My wife got called by the FBI, and they said, you're going into the next class. Now, this was her high school dream. She wanted to go. She was training for it. She went. They have a rigorous background check and everything.
My buddy was in Quantico for DEA.
Yeah. So it was Thanksgiving weekend. We had a long conversation, and she said, "What do you think?" And I said, "This is your lifelong dream. You got to go." And she goes, "Well, you're going to be in the academy. I'm going to be in the academy." I said, "We'll make it work. I'll come down every weekend." And then she goes, "But what do you really think?" And I was like, "No way. Absolutely not." I said, "New York is off the table. They're telling you got to spend a year in Afghanistan or Pakistan." I said, "You're white, Irish Catholic, redhead. You're a female, and you're going to go to Afghanistan?" Did you see Zero Dark 30?
Yeah, a little bit of it. I didn't see the whole thing. I got clips of it. Yeah.
So the main character was a woman.
Yeah.
She would have been doing that.
Insane. So did she pass on it?
She passed. And I said to her, I said, we're both 30 years old. And we have no kids. So there's no mommy and me at Quantico. Like, what do you want to do? Like, we're going to delay this further? So I am so thankful that she passed on that, and I am so thankful that the city took me in, because I had no talent, no skills, and I was unemployable. So the city took me in.
Wow. I didn't realize. I thought you were on during 9/11. I didn't realize you got on a month later.
Yeah.
It's still. I mean, it was still an intense time in the city. The pile wasn't cleaned up until 6-8 months later. It was insane.
No, and guys, friends.
Dude, a lot of you newbies you guys were put on the pile, right?
Yeah, I have a friend of mine that I was the first probie in my house after 9/11, and the probie in the truck was down on the pile, and he's actually passed away 6 months now, because he ended up with cancer from being on the pile, and he didn't even turn 50 years old. And
wow. I was on the pile for one night. One night. I was down there on September 13th with my brother Joseph. It was before they even blocked off 14th Street. They weren't, at the time, they were just letting anybody who wanted to help come down, and we went down and helped for one night, and the next night they're like, if you have no reason to be here, you're not allowed here. Did you get checked out? I never did. I mean, I'm going right now. I mean, I really don't. I'm not nervous in any way, shape, or form. But as adult men, we avoid the doctor for a lot of reasons. And I just now started going back to the doctor. So I had a physical 6 months ago, and I just got my other major physical just now. And coming out of it, everything seems good. He says you have a little bit of cholesterol. And before I put you on Lipitor for the rest of your life, he goes, I want to make sure that your heart plaque is not an issue. So I'm going to go get my heart scanned.
Good.
But he's not panicked about it. He's like, this isn't a severe thing. He said, this is just really precautionary. But that one night, I definitely, everything, everyone's like, what does it smell like? I said, take a transistor radio and burn it. I said, that's what it smelled like in the city for 8 months.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
Did you register?
No, I didn't do any. No, I didn't do any of that stuff. I mean, I hear about it, I see like the Jon Stewart stuff. I watch it, but
Jon Stewart's been very good to
he's the best.
First responders, and when we have to shame politicians into doing what's right, it's it's a shame.
Yeah, no, Jon Stewart's amazing, but I did not. I mean, I hear all that, and I mentioned it to Joey once, and my brother Joey was he and I was like, nah, I think I'm fine. If I get cancer, it's going to be attributed to the 16,000 different glues and adhesives I used in the last 25 years. It's probably not going to be because of the one night I spent down at the pile. No.
Well,
the night we were there, there wasn't even a bucket brigade. Like the bucket brigade of getting piles, like, the debris off. Like, honestly, there were guys wandering around crying. They were,
Yeah, people were looking for brothers and fathers, and
it was so tragic. There was a lot of guys down there very drunk. We encountered a couple guys that were severely drunk.
Yeah,
just because it was their way of dealing with it, and they were nobody was happy. No. Nobody was a happy drunk. A couple of guys we talked to, like steam fitters, and they came in from Pennsylvania. They came, they hopped in their car and drove there and just parked their car in the city and walked in.
Yeah.
It was a really. I wish I had a video camera. I got lots of still images from that night on a hard drive somewhere, but
Yeah, there's two brothers who were iron workers, came in from Chicago, and they stayed for like 2 months.
Yeah,
and they were just cutting steel like nonstop. And
mm-hmm.
they were, long time ago now. Yeah, up on 25 years.
It's unbelievable. It seems like yesterday to me.
Yeah,
it really does. I was in the Lower East Side when everything went down. Right on Avenue B in 2nd Street.
Right across the street from 28 and 11.
Yeah, exactly. And then they stole their door. I don't think they never got their door back, right?
The Bomberos?
Somebody stole their door. They had their door outside on their vigil after 9/11, and somebody came and took the door off of one of the rigs that was sitting outside by the candles. No.
Crazy.
Well, yep. That's life as a New Yorker.
All right, let me ask you a couple of rapid-fire questions.
Yeah.
All right, what's your favorite drink in the shop?
Diet Coke. Look, lately Coke Zero. I got a Diet Coke. I brought it into the meeting.
Pizza or tacos?
Pizza, all day long.
Favorite tool in the toolbox?
I mean, the bandsaw, but probably the Leatherman. Or you know what my new favorite tool is? I got this right here. Actually, here's a brand new one because I got 10 of them sitting around. I love this Mora knife. They're like $18 on Amazon, and I use this for everything. It's stainless steel, $18. It's like an extended razor blade that lasts a lot longer, and I got one right on my side, so you could see the difference. Like, this is the one that I've been carrying. You can see how beat up it is, and this is a brand new one on deck.
Yeah.
And then I use it as a pry bar, and I sharpen it, and I eat with it. I cut cheese with it. I do everything with it. So the Mora little side knife is like my new favorite tool. I've been using it for about 6 months.
What is that, for shucking oysters?
No, this is just for whatever. My lunch knife, my pry bar, and this one happens to have a fire starter in it, although I don't need that. But I didn't realize I bought this one on Amazon with a fire starter in the back of it. Just a little flint stick. Well, yeah, no, this is that and my Leatherman. I use them 500 times every day.
I like how Pat Reynolds has 500 different ways to use electrical tape.
Yeah. Pat's interview was great. It was great hearing him and you guys talk.
Well, he's a spieler. So somebody said, like, you were talking on Making It, that you're the weird uncle. I see that. I think of you as the fun uncle and Pat as the cousin, and I don't know why, because I know Pat's a little bit older, not much older, but he's a little bit older. To me, Pat, I think, and because he DM'd me a couple of times, he's like, "Hey, you know this fireman Eddie?" And he's over. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know Eddie. He's out of his mind." He goes, "Oh, that's my wife's cousin." And I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, Gary's also another one of his brother-in-law, Gary, but I think Gary's retired now.
Yeah, but it's like, you're the uncle because you're looking out for everybody and you have the experience and you want to see everybody do well.
Mm-hmm.
Pat is just, saying, "Oh, talk to this guy, talk to that guy, talk to that guy." And it's a lot of fun just to watch you two guys interact. It's really great.
It's funny. He came to me, he was like a cousin I didn't know I had, when we
Right.
got together and became friends, and he's like somebody I can count on 100%, and he knows he can count on me 100%.
But you two guys had a house, like his dad and your dad knew each other.
Yeah. So the Patrick story goes deep, and I don't remember exactly if he said it on here. He was watching me on YouTube, and when he was working at the World Trade Center, he says he would go and hide in his office. I'd been to his office before he retired. It was like literally a closet in the wall, and he would sit in his office when he was working for the electrical contractor running the Trade Center, 25 floors. He was one of the managers. A lot of stress. He said he'd watch YouTube, and then he kept seeing my name pop up, and he kept watching my YouTube channel, and he realized the same name, DiResta, is the same name as Joe DiResta, who lives in Oceanside. And Pat said, he saw my dad one day, and he goes, "Do you know Jimmy DiResta on YouTube?" And I said, "Yeah, that's my son." He's like, "Can you connect me to him?" And I remember my dad saying, "I'm giving your name to some guy he's an old Rockaway guy. He lives out here. I'm giving him your number. He's going to reach out to you." Then I got an email from Patrick, and it's like, but it was a fan email, and it didn't like stick the way, ultimately it did. The first couple of interactions with him, and I remember as a gesture, as a kind gesture, as a loving gesture, he's like, "I got a lot of cutoffs from the boardwalk after Sandy." All the boardwalk cutoffs of the Burbingo, whatever that fancy Brazilian wood is in Rockaway. Yeah. He had a truckload. And so one day I showed up at my shop and they were there. Like he had put them there. I still hadn't met him in person yet. And then we started talking. He says, "I'm an electrical contractor." He says, "If there's any way I can help or, help get involved with what you're doing upstate." And I kept thinking he was taking he doesn't know this. I kept thinking he was taking special trips up here and like happened to maybe see me. But I didn't realize he lived like 6 miles past me. So he wasn't up here just because of me. I thought like when he dropped all that wood up, he drove all the way upstate just to drop it off. I didn't realize he was driving past my house because his house is like 6 miles past mine. But not only that, when he realized who I was and that I was in the neighborhood where his vacation home is, and then he broke the news to me. He's like, "The vacation home, the home that you live in, the one I'm sitting in right now, was his grandfather's, was his grandmother's brother's house. From the 1955 to like the 80s or even the 90s, Patrick would come to this house. They would have family gatherings at this vacation house for his family. The family name was the Lions, and when I bought this house, there was plaques, and I bought this house furnished. Not great furniture, but the guy I bought it from the Lions, and there was still furniture and stuff from the Lions because he bought it fully furnished because it was just a vacation house. Right. It was like basically sold as like a bungalow, and that guy John bought it, and it was full of furniture, and there was like plaques, "Home Sweet Home," the Lions, and I'm like, and I realized that's the same name that's on this old deed, the Lions. And then when I met Patrick, that's his mother's family, the Lions. And Patrick spent his childhood coming to this house and hanging out. So as we got to be friendly, he kind of broke the story to me. And then like the first couple of years we were friends, he immediately started helping me with the barn in the backyard in 2017 with his electrical skills. He said, "Hey, my family coincidentally is having a family reunion at one of the resorts up here in East Durham." He's like, "Would it be okay if they did a walkthrough of your house because they all grew up here?" I was like, "Sure." So one afternoon, like 20 Irish cousins, everybody milk white with red hairs walking around here. And it was really touching because a lot of people were crying, remembering, because they hadn't been here in so long. I owned the house now for 20 years. At that time, it wasn't 20. It was in the teens I had owned the house. So they hadn't been here in 12, 13, 14 years, maybe even longer, because John owned it for a few years. So it might have been 20 plus years for some of them. And they're envisioning all these childhood memories, walking around the house crying. I was like, yeah, just go all the way upstairs. And when I got the house, it was Patrick's, if I'm correct, his grandmother's brothers. And they owned it together as two family members. And they both had extended families. So when I bought the house, there was a weird part of the house that was taken care of a little bit differently than the other part of the house.
Wow.
Like the floors were painted with flowers, and then this other part of the house was a little bit more traditional. And Patrick said that it was because the house was kind of split in two. Even though it wasn't a full functioning two-family house, it was like, these rooms are your family, and these rooms are our family. So they treated them differently. So the rooms now everything has one white painted floor everywhere, but there was like flowers painted on the floor one room, and it was because the families decided how to handle their parts of the house differently. So, and then this goes even deeper. When my mother was a teenager in Rockaway, her landlord was Mr. Lyons.
Wow.
This was
brother?
Mr. Lyons was one of the owners of this house. Was one of
wow.
Patrick's great uncles. So,
Wow.
and my mother said, when I bought the house and my mother realized the Patrick connection and this and that, my mother said, when I was a teenage girl, Mr. Lyons said, oh, we just bought a country house in upstate New York. So on the weekends and when the weather's nice, we're going to go to our country house in upstate New York. And meanwhile, my mother lived, in Rockaway, they had the front house and the back house. There's probably none of those anymore, but the way the plots in New York City, there's always a front house and a back house on every plot. Now there's brownstones on all those full footprints. But my mother said they lived in the back house and the family lived in the front house. And the family that owned the plot lived in the front house, and those were the Lyons. And my mother says she remembers them saying, we bought a vacation house in upstate New York in East Durham. And that house was this house. So my mother had that weird little experience, just as like passing information. And Patrick was living that life. And now, obviously, it all comes together with me randomly buying this house from a friend of my dad's at the Knights of Columbus in Oceanside.
It's not that random, though. Like, it was meant to be. Your family taking care of your family, the extension of your dad knowing the Reynolds family. And,
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's all meant to be.
It's crazy.
It is.
And then now, because of my connection to East Durham and because of what Austin started at the Blackthorn, I got Chris Zepp bought a house up here. Jacob Nose bought a house up here. Keith Drennan bought a house up here. Rob Rojas bought a house up here. And so we're having we're getting a really nice community going on.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I actually am meeting Chris Zepp, buying his fiber laser from him. So.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really nice and cohesive how everybody within the community is looking to help everybody else, and nobody's, at least I haven't seen it like.
There's no competition.
Right. There's plenty of room, and you also have to realize there's so many wood artists out there. I'm on Long Island, so to find another retired copper fireman who's making wooden American flags, you're going to trip over 5 of them before you're at the end of the block.
Mm-hmm.
But
everybody has. I say it this way: it's just the way we all have different personalities and different looks and different handwriting. Our skill sets just as varied, and so is our approach to making flags, and so is our approach to business, and so is our approach to friends and our connections, and our use of social media. So I think there's room for everybody. We're all just completely on the same streets, on the same avenues, on the same wiring and everything, but there's room for everybody because we all do it slightly different.
Yeah.
And if you hold on to the secrets and you just weird everybody out. These guys that don't want to share information. It's just like, you know what, you're a fucking weirdo. All right. They just they slowly get uninvited from the party. Like they uninvite themselves, really. It's like you don't have to do oh, there's that guy. Don't ask him any questions. He won't tell you where he got the cutting head. He won't tell you. Cares. He thinks if he tells you where he bought his cutting head, you're gonna start doing exactly the same work as his. Yeah. His connections, his avenue of making income is totally different than everybody's.
Well, I attribute it to the guy who holds all the keys. You can't fire me because I have all the keys. Like, we'll get a locksmith and changes the lock. It's easy.
Exactly. All you need is a Halligan. That's all we need. Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
thanks so much. I
All
appreciate
right, Ben.
you
Yeah, it's
coming
good to
on.
talk to
Yeah.
you. Of course,
Yeah.
buddy. Anytime.
I want to thank Jimmy again. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be here and sharing this conversation with me. Your willingness to be open, not just about making, but about family, life, and personal challenges along the way, really shows why you're the real deal. It's not just what you build, it's how you show up. You're always inclusive, always pulling new people into the maker community, and always reminding us that being authentic and being a good hang matters. There's a reason the community affectionately calls you the Godfather of making. The DiResta effect is real. The same way Oprah lifts celebrities, Jimmy lifts makers, giving people visibility, confidence, and the push they need to reach a higher level, all while staying grounded and welcoming everyone to the table. Jimmy, thank you for your generosity, your honesty, and continuing to elevate this community the way you do. And to everyone listening, thank you for spending the time with us on Create and Connect podcast. Thank you for making this a great community. And as always, keep creating, keep connecting.